What's happened, everybody? Stuart, what's going on? So, Mr. Polo, Daryl. So, state of trucking. What's going on in the trucking industry today? Well, depends on where you look for freight rates and things like that to see what's going on. And how do these companies actually get the freight rate? There's a lot of people out there on YouTube, Facebook, saying how these big companies like DAT and all these get broker percentages and things. Well, how do they know? They don't know. So the guys that think that it's 17% and 7% and all that, get real. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to touch a whole lot on it, but there's more profit in that, or they wouldn't be in business. And they spout off about C.H. Robinson and their percentage because they're a publicly traded company. So you can look at them. But when they show that percentage, are you not business people that are saying this stuff? You have to look at everything they deduct. Buildings, electric, cable, internet, agent pay, all this stuff. And they still have a 7% profit. It's not a 17%, folks. It's not a 7%. It can't be with those numbers. Look at the SEC filings. Actually read something, folks. Actually read it. Then you'll understand the magnitude of the money that comes in and goes out. Because a smaller broker doesn't have those expenditures. Therefore, their profit is larger. Is it not? Just like in trucking, you have a small carrier and a mega carrier. The small carrier has a bigger profit margin than the mega carrier because they have a lot more liabilities out there. Sean says, if full maintenance lease are bad, megas wouldn't turn them back in 3 or 4 years. Right, Sean. They're not bad. I had a full maintenance lease, but it was a whole lot cheaper than some of these companies out there are peddling onto unsuspecting owner-operators, not business individuals, because if they're business individuals, they could figure that dollar amount out and know that they're paying approximately double than what it would cost them if they had the credit and the availability to get that full maintenance lease from the actual dealer that's giving it to these big companies. Same thing with buying trucks. Do you think that an owner-operator, one guy, one girl, could go into a Freightliner and pay the same for that Freightliner as a company that buys 8,000 trucks from them? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So you don't endorse cash trucks. I never said nothing about endorsing cash trucks. If you got cash, pay cash for the truck. That's up to you. Now, when interest rates are cheap, and if you're going to throw $180,000 down on a brand new truck, if interest rates are real low, it's better to take that money and invest it and pay a little bit of taxes on the interest, right? Take a little interest deduction and have less tax bill. In my opinion. Because at $180,000, you can invest that money and probably make that truck payment every single month in your investment. At least the interest. And you would still have that money in the bank in case something happens to the truck or your business or the next monkey pox, this pox, COVID, revid, whatever you want to call these viruses that are hitting the country supposedly, you could weather the storm because you'd have the money. And there you go. It's the same thing when people say, well, why do you factor? Why don't you factor? That's what I ask them. Why don't you factor? In this day and age, with money being so cheap, it's better to factor because it does a lot of things for you that factoring doesn't, if you don't factor, you don't get. They haven't learned Business 101 yet. What do they always say? Use other people's money. If you don't factor, you're carrying a huge risk. Plus, you don't know when you're going to get paid. And when things happen, like it is now, brokers are starting to pay further out. Instead of 30, they're going 40, 50, sometimes 60 days. Because their shippers aren't paying them. Right? It's all a process. Right, CDN? If the shipper starts slow paying, the broker starts slow paying. Because they're not going to have enough cash to float that. So why would you want to be an owner-operator and wait for your money? Because this is what happens. Most owner-operators that are not factoring are also covering their fuel bill and their home expenses and no money coming in. And sooner or later, their bank account, if they had 50, 60, 70,000 in there, it's going to dwindle down to almost nothing. Because why? They thought they had 2 weeks from some of these big companies which are paying later. Now they're 30 days. Now they're 40 days. And here's what happens. They're putting that fuel on a credit card. Credit card's interest, folks. And then they do charge you after 30 days. It's another interest. It's compounded. So it's just a bigger hole. And if they're paying someone to do their taxes, someone to put all their stuff in, that costs more than factoring. My philosophy in this business, and always has been this business, is learn your business. Right? There's programs like AXIS, Trucking Office. Those are the two programs that we promote and we use. Why? Because they're great programs. Quit being lazy. Actually learn the business that you're doing. Use these programs. Enter the data yourself. That way you know your numbers. And when it comes tax time, you can print it out and do your taxes yourself. Instead of calling somebody else. Hey, how am I doing? How do they know what you're doing? They don't even know trucking, folks. They might know how to do trucking taxes, but they don't know trucking. Where if you know it and you do it all yourself, you learn the business, you know where you stand, you know what you got to do. Just my 2 cents. It might only be worth a penny and a half. I don't know. But if anybody wants to come in, we'll let you in today. It's kind of like a free-for-all. We are going to have the dean, maybe tonight or tomorrow night, on the show. We're going to let you in on what he has done. And it is a huge change. And it just goes to everything I've preached for the last umpteen years on trucks, fuel, etc. And some of the people aren't going to like it, right? They're not going to like it because it's the truth, and the truth hurts. Doug says it's all a vicious, continuous circle. That's right, it is. It's worth 4 cents due to inflation. James G. Look, it is worth 4 cents probably. In October, I'll probably be going to a insurance seminar. on the other side of the state. If I do go to that, maybe I can stop in, see you or something. You know, say hello, whatever. Hang out for a few minutes. Yes, the truth will set you free. You know, why wait for those checks, folks? I know lots of people out there that wait for those checks. And it's getting more and more and more they're waiting for them. And next thing you know, they got $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 that these brokers owe them. But here's the biggest thing. Why would you give $40,000 to someone you never met, you don't know? Say, here, hang on to my money, and, you know, when you get the time, pay me. It don't matter if it's 30 days, 40 days, 50 days, 60 days, 70 days, 90 days. Hey, whenever you get around to it, send me a check. Cool Trucking, what's up? Nothing. We're just ranting a little bit. We're going to have a good interview with the dean coming up sometime this week. Maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow. Depends where he's at. And his cell phone signal, we all know that his cell phone signal's bad. So we're going to wait until he gets to the Midwest, that's where most of the money is. Reefer, dry van, flatbed, you name the trailer, that's where it is. Yes, is it uncomfortable that you might have to leave your running area? Sure. If you run the short game and the short game's not working where you're at, do your homework. Get on 123 load board, look for that area where the short game's running good, and go there and work there for the week and come back. So you got to go out of the box. It is what it is in this environment. You know, because on one of these forums on Facebook, they were talking about, you know, a load board. Everybody knows it. It's three letters, three initials or whatever. And they were saying that the way they get their average rate per lane was from the shippers. That's not right. Because if that was the case, you'd never get above that number, now would you? See, just more misinformation that's going around. And it's unbelievable that, well, I guess it's not unbelievable, because if you look at other things going on in the world, people will believe anything and they'll follow anything, I guess. James, yeah, I think it might be worth 10 cents right now. Maybe 10 cents. Canadian Freight Broker says, correct. As customers extend days to pay, brokers also take longer to pay carriers. Exactly. The only way the broker pays the carrier faster is if they're factoring and you send your bills in and you agree to get paid by their factoring company. That type of thing. But they don't have to, right? Because a broker can wait until the shipper pays them. And then they can pay the carrier and not have to factor. They just might go past their 30, 40, 50 day time frame that they put in their contract or they tell people. That would be the only difference. Oh, Cool Trucking. He's looking at Armageddon, man. He's looking at Armageddon. He's stocking up. So we had a good meeting today. Insurance company was in the office today. Went through some files. They do that every single year. And talked about growth, where the company's going, where we'd like to go, what we can do, what we might not be able to do. So we covered all those bases. And of course, there's not a whole lot to talk about because we use all the tools. Right? We use Samsara. We use a trucking program. We have a safety director and so forth. So there's not a whole lot. We give safety bonuses. That was a recommendation. We've already do that. So there's not a whole lot to talk about. We just go over what happened, for the year. Look at the mileage numbers and things like that. Go through the equipment, the drivers and so forth, contractors, whichever one you have, or if you have both. And then ask and see what you plan on doing and how your growth aspect. So we told them what our growth aspect would have been at the end of the year if, things wouldn't have happened on the Hill over there in Washington, D.C., and economy and all that stuff, inflation, interest rates, trailer prices through the roof, equipment prices that are falling like a rock. When they get down low enough, I'll buy trailers. Then we'll go back to growth. So I told him the number that we'd like to be at by the end of next year. He said no problem with that. If you wanted to go even more, we have no problem with that either. So we pretty much have a wide open door at this point. So if you have your own tractor trailer, especially the Landstar guys, come on over here. We got less expenses. You don't have all that weekly takeout, and you have a better percentage. And our discounts are pretty good. Our tire discounts are really good. We go through one company. Any guys that are on with light trucking, they can ask. We'll give them the national account codes. We got 3 of them. And you can see the tire prices before you even buy. What's up, Eddie? Sterling says, dial a truck. Yeah, that's the old name for it. Top of the morning, Bowl of Woods. What's happening? Alex, good morning. Greetings from Hattiesburg, Mississippi. And of course, I got yelled at in the comments of the videos because I do shout outs or I read comments because that's taken away from the narrative. I only got one thing to say to that individual that leaves those comments. If you don't like this channel, then don't watch it. It's that simple. If you don't want to learn about trucking or the business or how to add up numbers, so forth and so forth, go watch drama. Take your time over there. It might be better served for you. What's up, PJ? Saved me like $1,500 when I put new drives on the International. We have a new program, PJ, just to let you know. Call me when we're done or whatever. I'll tell you who it is. It's not a mega carrier, none of that stuff. That, XPO or Schneider or JB or so-and-so and so-and-so. No, it's not those guys. Should borrow $100K from my credit cards with the term 0% interest rate for 15 months with a 3% transaction fee. Invest the $100,000 and save high dividends, 7% paying stock, yes or no? Well, Gary, I'm not going to tell you to do that. Talk to a financial advisor. Can you make? Sure. If you can get 7%, the numbers don't lie. You would actually make money, right? You'd use their money to make money. Just like when everybody's into crypto and the SHIB coin. Everybody remember SHIB? Well, I got out at the high. When it went back down, I used all those profits and bought hundreds of millions of their crypto coins. Then I started day trading it. So I bought some just a few weeks ago. I was up $900 on it. You sell it, it goes back down. You buy it again, and the thing is, you don't hold it, in my opinion. And so let's see what I'm doing with SHIB on this last transaction. I am up $440.70 right now on it. So I'll wait till the 500 mark, somewhere in there, and I'll dump it again. And that's what I'll do. If you want to know what I day trade, I'll tell you. I should have got some Samsara this morning because it was down. I was going to buy some, but I got busy. It's up almost $1, so I missed that $1,000 hit. But that's okay. There's plenty of time to buy and sell it. Nordic Tank Lines, that's another one I do. That's a cheap stock. It's $2.88. It's up 3% today. And folks, if you can make 3 to 5% in a day, that's good money. Sometimes more. So, like if I look at the SHIB, let me see what I'm up on that. I am up 31%. I'm up 31%. If I wait for another $100, $200, I'll be up 50%, and it'll be gone. And then when it drops 5 or 10% again, I'll just redo it. What I day trade is I day trade stocks of companies that I know and that I use. So I'll day trade Samsara, I'll day trade Nordic Tank Lines, Ford Motor Company, things like that. Crypto, same thing. I'll day trade those or week trade them, however you want to do it. Hello, everybody. What's up, Alaska Trucker? What's going on, Jerry? So, on Forex trading, when I Forex trade every day, I only trade one currency pair. That's the US dollar against the Canadian. That's the only one I do. I've been doing that one for a long time, so I know its range. So if I think it's going to go down, I'll sell. I'll do a sell order, betting it's going to go down. And if it goes up and I start getting down 2, 4, 500,000, whatever it is, I don't sweat it. I don't sell it. I just buy more on the downside because I know it's going to go back down. It's got a trading range. It doesn't go above it hardly at all. It doesn't go below the bottom number. It's always in that range. So when it gets up towards the top of the range, it's got to come down. So you bet it goes down, but you don't put all your money in there like that. You put in a quarter of it. That way, if it goes up even more, you can buy the same amount again. Now you only got to go down half that much to get back to even, and so forth. And eventually, it takes the big dip, and you get out. But where people lose the money is, they get nervous, and they sell or rebuy at that time, right? Years ago, Wade Cook, I read his books. He had one called Trading by the Bible. Read that book. It'll teach you a lot of things about mindset. And years ago when I got into day trading back in the 90s, this always stuck with me. Only trade what you're willing to lose. And what he means by that is only trade what you're willing to lose. So if you could take $500, stand at a cliff, drop the money off the cliff, walk away, and it does not bother you, then that's how much you should start trading with. If you could take 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, and just drop it off the cliff and walk away, it doesn't bother you, then that's what you should trade with. But if it bothers you, then don't do it, because you will not have the willpower, the ability to stay in there when it gets tough, when you make the wrong decision. And that's where you lose money. You have to meet a margin call if you reach a certain point. Yes, Gary, if you're trading on margin. If you're trading on margin. So for example, if you have 50K and it's a margin account, right? You can do 100K, but don't do that. I always trade with what money I have in there. I do not use their money on margin. I could, but I do not. The only margin you're going to use if you do Forex. Forex trading, you'll do margin. But that's real slight numbers on the change. So you could get out if you want to get out and not lose that much. But if you're day trading stocks, I only trade with the money I have in there. I do not use their margin account. So that's why I said I only do it with the stocks I like. So for example, if I got into Samsara today, which I wanted to get in early this morning when it was $16 and something, but I got busy. The insurance guy showed up. So I was busy. Couldn't buy at that time. I was in a meeting. But if I could have, I'd have bought this morning. And I would have bought 1,000 shares of it, is what I would usually buy of that. Because that's a safe bet. It's $30 stock. It went down to $9 or $10. It's heading back up. So I only buy what I like or want to keep. So that way if it went back down to $10, I don't care, because I'll just keep it. And then if it takes away a chunk of your day trading money, guess what? Save up money and keep adding up. And then trade within your means. And then if you keep that stock, eventually it's going to go back up. So for example, it's up $1.04 now. It's up another 6 or 7 cents from when we talked. It's 6.46% today. The low was 16.01. I seen it this morning at 16.16. I was waiting for it to open up, and I would have bought. And then I would have looked at it right now, and I'd have been up $1,000. And I probably would have sold it, and I would have made that 1,000 in a couple hours. But as of right now, I will not buy it at 17.30. I'll wait, because it will come down. It'll come down probably. See, 17 is going to be another testing point. It's above 17. So it's going to go to 18 probably. But if it gets back below 17, I will jump in. Because I know it's been in the 17, close to mid-17 already today. So just after lunch, I'll watch it. I might even put in an order. Right? I might put in an order to buy at $16.90. That way I don't have to watch it. If it gets down there, it buys it. If it doesn't get down there, I don't trade it, because tomorrow could go to 18 or it could go back down to 16. It can lose that dollar just as fast as it went there. But if I was to buy it right now and it dropped down to 15, I would not have sell. I'd just hold on to it, because it's a stock that I hold. Now, Ford, they're going to give me a $150 dividend. They just announced it. So I get a free $150 dividend just for holding on to their stock, right? What's the insight on a good, true team company for wife and I? Well, it depends on what you want to do. There's a lot of companies out there that do team. Depends on where you want to go. You're good. You're fit. Where you want to live, or where you live, the running lanes, and so forth. Spot market. There is some team freight, but there's not a whole lot. It's more like a single and a half. So, team-wise, I mean, there's FedEx, there's Schneider, of course, there's JB. There's all the big ones. All the megas have team freight. Forward Air is another big team company. But FedEx, right, Snowlord, FedEx is one of the best ones out there because you're going terminal to terminal and you buy your fuel from them. They got it right there. DO, I got it from Ford Motor Company. Let me see here. See, I'm Forex trading my profit loss for the day, and I do that on Ameritrade. It's right here. It's $130.25 on Forex today. 129.268. See, I'm going to sell. I'm going to do a sell because that's ripe. If you look at the chart on US dollar and Canadian, see how it took this big dip right there? That's where I sold, or I rebought actually. I sold at the top because you do a sell order, and then I bought it back to close it out down here. Now it's back up here. So I'll put in an order because you see that green spike? It's spiking good. So it's not going to go much higher. Matter of fact, watch. I'll do a sell market. Let's do 50,000. That way I can do another 50 and another 50 if it keeps going up. But there it is. I'll do review, send. So it's bought. So if I look at my positions, you see that line? That's where I sold at, 50,000. So when it gets way down here, I'll rebuy it. And it'll tell me the profit as you go. So I use Ameritrade to do Forex. I could use that for stock trading, but I day trade with Robinhood. So that's the platforms I use. I also have Webull. I don't do a whole lot with them. I mainly do it with Ameritrade and Robinhood. If I'm on my computer, then I have this level 2s up and everything else, and that's what I do. So like right now, if I go to positions, I'm down $5 on it right now because it's going up still. Now I'm down $2. Now I'm down $1.50. And now I'm up $1. See, as it goes down, it changes. I'm in the green. Let me see if I can't get that to zoom. Anyway, there it is. So you see the dollar, the 50 cents. So as these go, I want these to be red. And then all it's going to do is take away from my profit for the day. But I believe I'll get another 100 or 200 off of this. And I'll just let it sit there and go up and down, do what it's going to do. Only if you come by air or sea, says Alaska. Because Nevada says, how can I get to Anchorage without going into Canada? By air and sea. That's it. R&L over Texas, Minnesota says, good, need 2 years, good company. And over Texas, Minnesota knows. Because I'm guarantee you they probably worked there. Yes, they did. R&L is a good company. And I'll ask Snorward to the right. What's up, Snower Lord?
Howdy.
Howdy, brother.
We got 70 people in here. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's 70 people that actually want to learn about business, trucking, financial stuff, whatever. And this is all opinion, right? Disclaimer: we're not your financial advisors. We're not lawyers. Tax preparators, or any of that stuff. It's just
We
all of
ain't
our
nothing.
opinions.
We're just a couple of people on YouTube.
I'm mad that I missed my Samsara buy this morning. Man, that'd have been a good $1.05 hit, wouldn't it? Oh well.
I didn't even know you were live. I was on the phone with a client, and then I looked, and you've been live since 10:26 my time.
That's another thing. Our dispatch service is going through the roof.
We're gonna have to start adding agents.
Yes. Cool trucking. We're going to start adding agents here pretty soon. If you're interested, Hey, let me roll over here. Make some noise. Let me make a bunch of noise so you guys can hear it. I did give the insurance guy a hat. See, that's my black camo hat.
I want one of those.
They didn't have large, extra large, or even a large, or even extra large to 2X. But I'm gonna order some more because they got a new inventory of hats in. This is small to medium. This won't fit you.
I mean, come on. I keep my ego in check. I don't think my head's that big, so I think we're okay. What was the size of this one he gave me? Oh,
Probably
this is
a
a large.
large. Is that the size you need?
Kind of tight. So maybe you're right.
You need an extra large to 2X?
No, not that big. No, this is perfect. I mean,
That's perfect.
I have to hold on to it in a windstorm, but I don't leave the house, so that's not a problem.
You know what my granddaughters want? They want these. They want these beanies.
Pink beanies. Well, there you go.
So I got them a couple pink beanies. I'll give them. I wanted to see what they look like or felt like. So if you want a nice cold weather beanie, I can send you one.
I think I
size fits all.
I need to set up a beanie on my Teespring store. So
I got misunderstood. I got 70 people in here and still got my clothes on. What's he talking about?
I don't know what channel he thinks this is. So what is the state of trucking? I saw that's the title. Did I already miss that talk?
Yeah, it basically was talking about, where the economy is. The trailer prices and truck prices are going to start coming down because more and more people are going to go out of business. Because one, they never knew their numbers in the first place. They don't use a program to keep track of their numbers, or they pay somebody else to keep track of everything, which those people don't know anything about the trucking industry. All they know is accounting. And if you're in this business, you should do all that entry into a program yourself so you learn the business instead of relying on somebody else to do your business for you. What do you think, Steve? I mean, if you don't keep track of your numbers and you let somebody else keep track of it, one, you'll never learn, and two, you'll never know if they're doing it right.
Yeah, I mean that's true. I mean, I use both. I have an accountant and I still do it myself.
Right, but you kept all your stuff in the famous Snore book. Right? You kept track of your numbers.
Mm-hmm.
You got Ray White's program Fogline back in the day, correct?
Yep.
So you put all that in there and you knew your numbers. See, once
Right.
you
Yeah, no,
know
yeah.
the business and know your numbers, then it's okay to go let somebody else put everything in for you because you already
Yeah,
know your stuff.
I just transfer that to the accountant. Now, I wasn't always like that. When I first started, man, I was looking at my deposit slips, thinking I was doing great. I mean, and that's how a lot of people start, and I was the same way. And the one day I did the math on my truck cost, my Peterbilt, and that's when I was like, oh crap, I'm at a Snyder Finance level payment, but I'm not running like a Snyder Finance guy, and I was slowly going in the hole. So I corrected a few things, and then bought the green truck, and been keeping numbers ever since. And it's amazing the night and day difference that your mindset has to go in doing this.
You had
So
what they call the classic PM, is what you had.
PM.
Paycheck mentality,
Oh yeah.
right? So as long as you got a paycheck coming in, you thought everything was great, right?
Hmm.
And then you switched over to the business mentality.
Hmm.
So you seen what you were doing wrong. You seen that, hey, I had these payments. I should have been running like I was a Schneider Finance guy.
Yeah,
Hey, guess
because
who we got coming in?
the truck payment and the maintenance together equaled a Schneider Finance payment. It was like 40 grand in 1 year, and that's when I decided I needed to buy a different truck.
Hey, look, we got our good friend from the north, eh?
From the north. I was only popping in. I'm super busy today, but I just wanted to share a couple quick stories if you can.
Hold on, Rob. Is it snowing up there?
We're in
Not
a
yet.
heat wave. It's
Yeah, it's
gonna be.
52 degrees.
It's going to be. Let's see here. I'll tell you the. Today is going to be. I'll switch it over here. Today it's going to be. We got 83 today, 87 tomorrow, 83 Saturday, 77 Sunday, 81, 78, 80, 82. So we're in the 80s for the next 7 days.
Wow.
Yeah, blue sky.
Man.
Meanwhile, we've cooled down to the 80s.
Yeah. Yeah, Snow Lord, he can actually go outside without sweating now. He's cooled down to the 80s.
Yep.
So,
Yeah,
so
no, I
what's
just had a
going on, Rob?
Well, I had a couple of things. One, to show the reality, to talk about the state of trucking, as you've heard of other carriers having issues with their insurance premiums getting raised, et cetera, over this past year. I got word from a Canadian carrier of mine. He got notice that if his insurance policy expires on the 28th, and his insurance company, he had two situations. They have declined his renewal. He approached the broker, says, "What's my other options?" You don't. He says, "Well, you can go in the free market, but basically, unless his only options at this point is selling his equipment, becoming an owner, like lease onto a company, or he's out of the business." So that's the reality of some people. If you have a couple bad situations on your insurance, it can truly put you under.
And
Oh, yeah.
and that's where you have some owner operators with the wrong mental process of trucking. And what I mean by that is, if you set in place, hey, we want you to go get quarterly inspections and have them done in your truck. Why do I need to do that? It's only required once a year. Because you need to know if your truck needs repair. Because if you get some bad inspections, it could be all over, right? It could be the end of the trucking. And what they don't understand is, if you put those safety measures in place, you're not only looking after the carrier, you're also looking after that owner operator's business. Right?
Right. And I think the starting point is if you're a driver, a company driver, and you see the carrot being dangled in front of you to, hey, you can drive your own truck that someone else won't be using, and you think that'd be great, I'd love that. That's fine. But if you're not interested in learning the business of trucking, and even if you're saying, I want to be a lease operator. I have no goal to go on my own. That's fine. We need those, but still, if you're not vested in understanding your costs and the numbers and that piece of it, even as a lease operator or an owner operator leased onto someone like yourself, if you're not interested in that, then maybe owning a truck is not suitable for you for the long term of it.
Right. And it doesn't take very many bad inspections to ruin your insurance.
Oh yeah, especially if you're a 1 or 2 or 3 truck carrier. I mean, if
Right.
you're a 2 truck carrier and you have 1 bad inspection, that's what, 50%?
50%.
Yeah. And then also on growth, right? So if you if you go up to 2 drivers within your first year, you've doubled, and they want you to only grow like a smaller
20%.
percentage a year, 20%. And that's something that I've seen happen over and over. So
Well,
I mean, if you're a 1 truck operation, you don't want to expand until your second year after your renewal.
see, CDN, like you're saying about insurance companies, and they told them, we're going to let you go. Well, yeah, you can go on the open market into the insurance pool, high risk pool, they call it.
Yep, high risk pool, exactly. But
It's going to cost you 30 to 40 grand a truck,
if not more.
if not more.
Mm-hmm.
And who can afford that?
Yep.
Nobody. Now, there is an insurance company out there, starts with a P.
Yep.
They are very bad when it comes to letting you expand. Because here's what a lot of folks don't understand. They go with them because they say, oh, I can go to 9 trucks or 10 trucks in 1 year. Everybody else told me 0 trucks or 1 truck. I can go to 10. When you do that, and it comes time for renewal, and let's say you were paying $60,000 a year, right? Let's say, and then you got up to $80,000 for 9 trucks. Well, when renewal hits, now they hit you for $150,000 a year. They jack you up 50% or whatever. Well, I'll just go somewhere else. Can't go anywhere else because you got excessive growth.
Yep.
Because all the other trucking insurance companies will say, you expanded too fast. Excessive growth is high risk.
And I think the other thing that is a real telltale to tell if you're a person ready, because I mean, the reality is in this trucking industry, we need all kinds of drivers. We need all kinds of salespeople, dispatchers, safety managers, human resource people, a variety of roles to fulfill all the duties. Because if you're a driver, if you're at a shipper consignee and there's a challenge, your ability to manage that yourself and then come back to your company explaining in a professional way what occurred and what actions you took, and unless they say, well, okay, we appreciate that you did this, but next time we should have done the following, or that you timely communicated. But if you're not a person that likes to be involved in solving problems, because even if you're a lease operator and you have your truck and you break down, the company puts it on you. And so if you're not creative and proactive, like, I got to think, yes, can breakdowns happen at any given time? 100%. But if you have 1 truck, chances are, like anyone on your panel, the people on this panel are very well experienced. They have, especially if they have 1 truck, like many of the names I see on here, I bet you they know every inch of their truck. They know everything about it. So sure, anything can happen. The glad hand can rip off or a leak can happen, but you could be looking at your tires and saying, hey, my tires are wearing down. Probably in the next year, I'm going to need tires. How much is that going to be? I need to start budgeting for that. It looks like I'm going to need new shocks. I'm going to need brakes. Like, things of that nature, you can kind of, estimate, like when you're taking in for your regular oils and it changes that you'll get some of this stuff. Like, sure, the turbo can go on you unexpectedly, and that could be a $5,000-$7,000 bill. But I think when you can be thinking about your business, like, okay, we're coming to the last 6 months or the last 5 months of 2022, what's the year? And then in 2023, what maintenance do you need to start planning for your truck? Brand new or used, you're going to have wear down, you're going to have regular wear and tear. But what do you think you're going to anticipate? If you just did tires, you just did your brakes, you just did your shocks, chances are you're not going to have that kind of, if you spent a bunch in 2022, maybe 2023, unless there's an unknown, it may be a little bit better on the books for you from a maintenance standpoint. So then you can maybe take some revenue and set it aside and pay off your truck more. But there's a variety of things. But the sidebar, the reason I jumped on is to share a story about persistence and salesmanship and business. The other day on Thursday last week, I was having a shower, and all of a sudden I realized that, hey, the water's growing above my feet. That's not normal because it's a one-person shower. So what does that mean? I got a clogged shower. So it didn't go down right away. And so Friday night, I was busy working, so I had to let it sit till Friday night. I started working on it Friday night, nothing. I'm putting the auger down there, trying to get going. Some stuff was coming up, but nothing's happening. I tried to plunge it, same thing. And so Saturday, I'm trying again. I got this 1-minute plumber that pushes air down into it. That didn't solve it. It's supposed to give you 12 fixes, but that didn't do it for me. I thought, hey, I'll get smart. As stuff was coming up, I thought I turn my shop vac into my wet vac so I can suck up the water, and that still didn't solve it. And so then I continued. I thought, well, Monday I'm gonna have to call a plumber. But then I thought Sunday I had some time, and all of a sudden I started working at it. And I took that auger and I went to my other bathroom thinking that they were connected. But the point is, I had the water filled up there, and I was going down, pulling it out, twisting, pulling down, twisting. 6 inches, a foot at a time. Is that, the auger kept going down. I'd feel the blockage. I'd do it, twist, and all of a sudden, the water went down. So persistence pays off, and sometimes your resolution doesn't happen immediately. Like, I could have been just quick to say, now I have to call a plumber. He would have probably charged me a call-out fee plus their time here for what would have taken them 10 minutes. Well, I persisted and I solved it myself. And that's just the point of the story, is that just like relationships with your brokers, relationships with potential shippers, if you're a dispatcher and you have 6 drivers you're dispatching, the relationships you build with them don't happen immediately. It's a process. Be patient and consistent.
I agree. And part of that persistence and never say die attitude has to come from going up beyond your areas. Sorry, I'm dealing with the level thing. That's how the people that are making it right now, that's what they're doing. They're having to go outside of their normal areas. They're having to do things that they normally wouldn't do. And that's part of the game. Like if I was running my truck right now, if I didn't have the dispatch or the safety, I would be probably running these 800, 900 mile loads. My short haul stuff that I do around here isn't happening. And if it is, it's only like $300 or $400 a day, with a lot of empty dock time. So, the persistence and lower of costs is what's making people survive right now. So, I agree with that.
So, question all about trucking says, if I buy a truck and trailer but want a lease on a carrier, what insurance would I need to get on my own for truck and trailer? And what insurance will I need to get from the carrier? Well, through us, you would have to get nothing from the carrier. If you wanted to get your physical damage and bobtail, that's what you'd have to get. Physical damage and bobtail, you can get that from anywhere. But if you want to get it from us, you get it at fleet prices. You'll save some money, but that's it. You should only need physical damage and bobtail insurance.
And that physical damage is dependent on who holds the loan and what they want the payoff to be.
Correct.
So.
And to your point about you talked about having a TMS system. So yesterday I had a call from a customer looking for a quote. I was super busy, but they're anxious for the quote. So what did I do? It was a Canadian quote, so from Vancouver, BC to Toronto. I looked in my TMS because we have agents, and I can see loads. I can't see their customers, but I can see the carriers and the load numbers and the lane. And I found probably a bunch of loads in the last 4 months in that lane, and I can see that the pricing was pretty consistent. In a matter of clicks, I was able to confidently, because these are carriers I could call on, and saying, hey, I know you booked loads with us before, that I quoted them, and I was able to confidently quote a customer in a matter of clicks because of that TMS history. And again, when you first start out, it may seem kind of ridiculous for one driver to put in all this detail into the system. And you may not see the benefits, but after a year, then the benefits kick in of a TMS system, because you can look back, you can put notes when you're reminding yourself, hey, I think I was in this city one time, and you went to Atoka, Oklahoma, or some small little town, something, and you're like, I remember the shipper, and you went in there and you had a note saying, yeah, tight dock, or whatever the case was, or really strict, or you had to, whatever procedures, notes you can put in there about it, you have information. And then you can run your numbers. It can help you identify maybe some seasonalities, and it takes time to remind yourself. Like Steve has his little notebook, and the notebook is great, but a TMS allows you to have the notebook that you don't have to. The TMS allows you to have that searchability, because the notebook works, but you have to remember when, and you have to hunt and peck. Whereas a TMS, you can allow it to.
It's a faster search. It's a faster search engine.
It's a faster search. So, anyways, guys, I apologize. I'm going to have to jump off here. I got phone calls ringing left and right. So,
we'll go do your business.
Great chat. Alrighty. Thanks, guys.
All right, Rob. See you. Steve, everybody. So, all about trucking. Some carriers will charge you for cargo and liability. And they will do a smoke and screen on a bigger percentage. If you run the numbers, it's actually a lower percentage of someone that includes all of that. So like here, we do an 80-20. You bring your tractor trailer over here, it's 80-20. And if you want to buy we include the cargo and liability for that 80-20. That's all in there. So is the ELD expense. It's all in there. The only added expense is if you wanted to buy physical damage and bobtail insurance at fleet cost through us. If you wanted to buy from somebody else, then there'd be nothing coming out. Right, Steve?
Yep.
It's pretty simple.
So what Jeff's talking about is if somebody comes in and says, oh, we're at 98%, but they're charging you for the cargo liability, they're charging you for factoring, they're charging you for the ELD. Next thing you know, you're looking at your weekly expenses might be $300 a week. And so you might net more being over here versus a company that's charging quite a bit at a higher percentage, because basically what they're doing is they're just rearranging the pie pieces is what they're doing. So because a carrier that would, let's say a carrier gives you 98% of the load and they don't charge you for anything, they wouldn't make any money. That 2% isn't worth the paper and the paperwork and the insurance costs and everything else. It wouldn't cover. You'd go in the hole. So they got to make their money a different way. So
right. So they charge you $500 or $600 a week, but the problem with that system is, if you take 2 weeks off, you owe them $1,200 when you come back to work.
Ron's got a question about the plates.
So getting the insurance through you, the plates can be separate, or better to get the plates through you as well. Well, Ron, you can get them through us. We don't upcharge for them or none of that. Whatever it costs, I show you what the bill is, and then that's what the cost is. But if you can get your own plate, it's always better to have your own plate. Because that way, if you leave somewhere, if that carrier doesn't let you use their plate to get to where you need to go, you're really not supposed to move that truck.
It could be difficult. Plus, you might be able to save money. Like, for example, Snyder, the plates and administration fees and everything else, to get my plate to them was like, I think it averaged, came out to like almost $2,000 for the year. But then when I got my own plate through Missouri, it came out to about $1,600 for the year.
Right.
Now, the good thing is Snyder, just charged me weekly for that. But if I don't run for a couple of weeks, then that gets double or whatever. Whereas the more difficult thing that a lot of people have trouble handling is if you pay for your own plates, you're paying one lump sum, and that's how Jeff does it. So if you get your plate through Light Trucking, you're going to pay that one lump sum.
No, Steve, not exactly.
Right? No? Okay.
No, I give them the option.
Oh, okay.
Pay all at once, or we can take it out at $50 to $55 a week. What I do is I just do it over 30 payments, let's say. So if their plate's $1,500, Michigan plate ranges $15 to $1,650. Just depends on your miles in the states. It's about $1,600. We're pretty easy. We're flexible.
That way, if someone wants to come over here and they don't have their own plate, they're not having to come up with $2,000 or something like that, right?
They could come over here with no money payout, right? Because when they sign up, we can get the fleet insurance, we can get the plate, and you don't have to bring no money to the table. Just when you start getting your pays, there will be those small deductions of whatever we decide between us and the contractor what they want, right? $50 a payday since they're paid every day. So it'd be a course of over 30 paydays, right? Same thing with insurance.
There you go.
And a lot of guys will tell you if you come over and you do the fleet insurance and it's the 15th of the month, I'll put the insurance on the truck. And I'll only charge you like 1 or 2 payments for that month and then start the next month for the full. So you actually get a little bonus there. Do you still have minimum miles? No, we do not. If you don't want to run, you don't have to pull a mile, do you, Steve?
Nope.
We do not have no minimums.
In Tyrannus, no, you don't need 9+ years experience to be here.
2 years.
That's an OWIDA thing.
Yeah, it's 2 years to be here. It's all on the website at lucktrucking.com. We have longevity bonuses and we have safety bonuses. So every year you're here, you get a 0.5% higher, and it'll cap out at 85%. So if you're 2 years, you're 81, 4 years at 82, and so forth, and you'll cap out at 85. Yeah, so
all about
we don't.
It depends on the value of your truck.
Right. And here's the thing about the minimums. Here's the problem. And this is why we can do what we do. We had the minimum in place when you pay insurance per contractor because the insurance doesn't stop. So, for instance, if you have an insurance policy where you're paying $15,000 a contractor, no matter what, and you break that down to $1,200 a month, and if he doesn't run, you owe $1,200 a month as a carrier. If you have 20 trucks, no carrier can afford that kind of money if no one runs because there's no money coming in. So they can't keep going in the hole $24,000 every month. Right?
Right.
But since we have a mileage policy, that gives us the option of truck don't move, the insurance is zero.
Yep.
Therefore, this company could be like a semi-retired. Even, Steve, I even had one of our guys, and you know him. Mm-hmm. He has his own authority. He has 2 of them. And he has one trucking part he uses, and the other one he has a flatbed for trucking over the road. One's a fuel business. You probably know what I'm talking about. And he has a flatbed. Now he has to pay $12,000, $15,000, whatever it is, a year, whether he drives that truck or not. And he doesn't drive that truck that much. So I says, hey, you know what? Why don't you put it on with us? You can save a lot of money. Even though you're going to pay 20%, that's going to be a whole lot less than that insurance bill for your own authority because you don't really run that truck that much. So then when you do want to run it, you can run it.
Mm-hmm.
for less money.
Yeah.
It doesn't cost you as much.
And it took you time to get to that point. It wasn't always like that. So it takes time and it takes a good record.
It takes at least 5 years to be considered for the program. We got on the program at 4 because of all the tools we use, the safety we do. That's why we got in early. But most people aren't going to want insurance companies to come in and run through all their files. Right? They're not going to want that.
Right.
But we used all the programs, so it doesn't bother me. They just came today. Gin Bar, hello from the Motor City. What's the insurance cost? Like Steve said, that depends on the value of your truck and trailer. I could give you an estimate. You put how much your tractor and trailer's worth, both combined, and I'll give you an estimate on physical damage real quick. I just type it on my phone real quick and give you a ballpark.
Ron, you're according to this, Massachusetts outbound is 239 in and 122 out on the load ratios, and then on 1, 2, 3 it's yellow. Wait, that's for van and reefer. Let me put van only. Yeah, Massachusetts is still yellow, so it's not great. You got better load ratios actually coming out of Maine than Massachusetts. So Massachusetts, you're probably going to deadhead to either Jersey or New York. Jersey's really good right now because of the ports. So for van.
Bugatti on 90K, it's going to be roughly about $340 a month for physical damage at 90K. And then, of course, you got $45 a month for bobtail. That's a set number. And occupational insurance is $143. But for physical damage on 90K, it's about $340. So, Steve, what's good? You've been busy? I know you've been busy.
Yeah, it's been tough, man. It's if you're running a reefer, you got to stay booked ahead. You got to stay a couple of days ahead. I've been trying to just stay in the right lanes to get consistent money both directions. It's kind of what I've been doing, and sometimes the drivers is their own worst enemy. So it's been a challenge, but we're handling it. We're doing good. I think most of my clients are happy. So, but staying busy, and then on top of that, we're dealing with the car. We got the car fixed, but there's something wrong with it still, so I got to go take it back. And so luckily my workload this afternoon is light, so I can go take care of that, so we get back to having all of our vehicles running. And other than that, just trying to stay one step ahead and dealing with the games that the brokers are playing right now, which is we're not going to answer our phone or emails. So that's kind of a challenge. I mean, I'm not a fast typer, so before I get the email out, I'm getting a lot. That one's been covered. That one's been covered. And a lot of them are posting the day before. Like I'll call, hey, I'm looking at your load picking up today, this afternoon. I might have a truck empty. And they're like, oh, that load's actually for Monday. Okay, then why is it posted for today and you're wasting my time? So there's a lot of that going on. So you definitely don't want to be booking the last minute. That's for sure.
Right. And Ronald, we don't offer health insurance, so you can get that through the marketplace or somewhere like that. Yeah,
reefer, cool truck and reefer, you almost got to be 2 loads ahead. or 2 days ahead at least. Especially if you're running short game. But if you're running long game, you want to 2 days before your load's up. You want to get the next one going. So it's been a challenge. So,
But we like the Landstar guys with their own tractor trailers. They want to come over because one, even though they're on a closed load board, they know how to call brokers and book freight. That kind of helps.
mm-hmm.
But if you do need the help, I mean, we have Steve, great dispatcher in the dispatch service. Overwhelm them. Get 5 or 10 more people want to use his service, and then we'll just pull cool trucking in. Look, they look like almost like twins. They got the beards going. Here, let me put his beard up here. Look. We're going to change this to the Bearded Dispatch Service. Bearded Boys Dispatch.
Beard runners.
Beard runners.
Like how at time that you won't spit your water out.
Yeah, there you go.
No, I mean, look, I'm capped out at this point because then I start losing. For me, it's about quality over quantity. It does me no good if I can't handle all the trucks. That's when mistakes get made, and so we're and look, if anything, we're saving you a lot of aggravation. A lot of the guys that are using me are either because they don't want the aggravation or they're running areas that they're not used to. And so that's where my experience comes in, because I've got all the tools in front of me. And, the tools are important right now. I mean, you got to be a step ahead. And the brokers are playing hardball. I mean, Jeff, I'll tell you, I was calling for a load. I got this notification from an outside carrier that, hey, my driver's empty in Indianapolis right now. And it was Friday afternoon. I mean, come on, and it was drying up pretty quickly. And then he called me and goes, hey, I need him to get to Denver. I'm like, oh, that should be easy. There was literally one load with a 160-mile radius, dry van load that was going to put him in Denver on Monday. So I called the broker, and obviously I've got no leverage. I didn't tell him I needed to go to Denver, but it's like, hey, I'm interested in this load in Denver, we wheeled and dealed. And she knew what she had. She did not negotiate. She was like, this is take it or leave it. And I had to take it because it was a dedicated account that they got to get out of Denver. So she puts the phone down instead of putting me on hold. And I could hear the other brokers in the office and what they were saying, and they're negotiating and the things that they were yelling. It was pretty interesting. And one of them was like, I guess somebody was giving one of the brokers hell because he was like, how do you justify being $4,000 over the 30-day average? I mean, just stuff like that. It was pretty interesting. But yeah, I mean, last week was brutal because all of a sudden I was like, I went from 0 to 60 and I'm looking for loads at the last minute because, hey, by the way, I'm empty now and I need a load. I'm like, whoa, hey, so I try to plan ahead once you're established with me and we try to make it. Now all the trucks are rolling except for one, and we discussed why he wasn't rolling, and I think he'll be good next week because we're going to try a different strategy with him. So, and that's the thing. Jeff and I can help with strategies. And right now, depending on which market you're in, it might be any port in a storm. You might just got to keep moving. You got to run out of your area, or you got to do that 3-stop load. And just to keep the wheels going. I mean, that's kind of that's where we're at. And my broker relationships that I've acquired doing this have been invaluable. I mean, it's been, there are days when I make 2 phone calls and 4 of my trucks are booked. So, I mean, that's kind of where you want to be at. So,
you could lease on with us, but you'd have to put our numbers and stuff on the side of your truck. You couldn't use your own authority. Correct, Steve?
Yep, correct.
What else we got on here? Can we get reefer trailers? We can get them. Will I buy one? No, prices aren't down to good enough. Can I rent them? Yeah, you can rent them all day long, but they're expensive to rent.
Yeah, they are. They are
Very
high.
expensive to rent.
And I'm going to be honest with you. Reefer volumes. Look, I've been doing this spot market for 5 years. I've been doing self dispatch for 8 years. And the reefer volumes have gotten me, it takes a little bit to surprise me. It takes a little bit to go, whoa, a lot has to happen. And the reefer volumes have made me go, wow, that's
Great
tough.
dispatcher.
And like I talked to one driver that has $250,000 into his truck and trailer, and it's a reefer trailer. And he's looking at his 2021 numbers thinking he's going to be all right. I'm like, no, you're not. So
Great dispatcher, Snowlord.
yeah, Tennessee's pretty happy. And look, you know why Tennessee's happy? Because he's also a runner. He's got the ethic. I'm not. It's not like I suddenly, hey, you've got a load, you got to run overnights all of a sudden. I don't do that to him, but he's got that mentality that he will do what it takes. Whereas sometimes a driver might make me cancel a load because he didn't want to run overnight, even though they agreed to it in the beginning. So I mean, Tennessee is one of our contractors, and he's doing well, and he's got the perseverance, he's got the foundation, and he's a good guy. So
Well, he used our tire discount, saved a lot of money.
yeah,
And another one of our drivers called me up, said, "Hey, I'm at this truck stop. It was a TA, and he was trying to use JB Hunt's discount. Got some Goodyears. Of course, they don't work. They don't work for that. They only work at Goodyear,
yeah,
right? They only work at Goodyear. So I said, well, here's a discount through our discount program through this other company. And I said, tell them to take those tires off, get these Bridgestones, and you'll save $600, even if they charge you $100 to take the tires back off." And he did. He saved about $600-700.
and so everywhere where you can lower costs, the better. Because here's the bottom line in this market right now. It's as simple as this. The lower your costs, the more freedom you have. If your costs are high, you don't have any freedom. You are a slave to that truck payment. You're a slave to that cost. You're a slave to all the toys at home. And right now we're in a market that's not, it's incredibly difficult if your costs are super high. So anywhere that you can lower your costs, such as tire discounts, fuel mileage, getting a more fuel mileage truck, staying in the right lanes, doing the multiple stop loads that increase your revenue, the better. But if you got $250,000 into your rig, and your payments are sky high and your house payments sky high, you don't have much flexibility. You're going to have to run overnight. You're going to have to run outside the areas. You're going to have to run in the winter storms when they start happening. You're going to have to stay out and not be home every weekend. So I mean, and like I said, if I was running my truck right now, that's how I'd have to be running. So I mean, that's where we're at. So
Well, Berkeley Trucking, if you want to come over here, we do have a trailer available. It's just down the street from Steve, sitting there ready to go.
Hmm.
Steve says, "Yeah, come get that trailer. I have more parking area." We do have a trailer available if anybody wants to come over here. And the good thing about it is, if you know how to put an ELD in, it's really simple. We can walk you through it. I can send everything to your house just like Landstar does, right, Steve? We can send everything there. You put it on your truck. We get you power only over the trailer, or you just go over there and get it and start rolling.
Yep.
Because we can do all the orientation process right over the phone.
Liketrucking.com, James. And Ron, no, I don't think Jeff has any plans to rent and lease trucks because, people keep asking me if I'm going to put someone in my truck. I'm like, hell to the no.
I leased a truck. I had a full maintenance lease Volvo. Everybody knows that. And I let a gentleman in that truck and gave him the option. You can lease this truck, and at the end of that full maintenance lease, you have the option to buy it. This company won't buy it, but I'll give you that option. And I won't even upcharge for it. It'll be whatever that contract says. And the person didn't do that, but if I showed you the pictures of the way that truck was left, unbelievable.
Yeah, if you go to Jeff's old videos, you'll see how immaculate he kept that truck. And if that guy would have bought that truck out, that was a good deal for that truck.
That was a good deal.
And I mean, not after what it looked like. And so here's the thing. So if you want to rent or lease trucks, you got to be able to put eyes on it. You got to be able to put eyes on it at least a quarter. I know one carrier that requires you to send pictures of the outside and inside of the truck to make sure that you're not, because you guys have seen some of these people on the road have like 4 or 5 dogs in the truck, or they got trash backed up in the passenger seat. And then that's not even like, that's just hygiene. Think about the safety aspect. You can have, and someone asked about the 2-year thing. I've seen veteran drivers make just as many mistakes as rookie drivers, because complacency keeps you from, can make you make a mistake, right? So when you are playing the rent, lease, or put a company driver in a truck game, you better have the capital to back it up, and you better be prepared for the worst.
Correct. Canadian Freight Broker, I'd like us to interview a carrier that does not work on the spot market and get their perspective.
That's a good idea.
And Cool Trucking says that's why he changed his mind after hiring drivers after seeing what happened to Bob. Yeah, so, you hire these guys to come in, they talk a good game, and then they run your truck in the ground, they don't fix it, and they turn it back into you.
Yeah. And so when you see the carriers that have cameras that are inside the truck, there's a lot of camera footage of people looking at their phone. There was that one video of the guy that actually got out of his seat to grab something. He ended up rolling the truck. That's why they put driver-facing cameras in there, because a lot of drivers can't be trusted. And so you're putting a lot of faith in handing them the keys to a $160,000 vehicle and say, okay, this is what you're going to live in. So you better be able to, the big companies get away with it because they have the capital to deal with that. Whereas a small truck operation like Jeff, that's a lot of money tied up and a lot of faith in a lot of people. And that's just kind of, to me, it's a recipe for disaster, or at least hardship.
Right. Canadian Freight Broker, send the car to me. I'll fix it. Are you able to look into the law about hiring drivers out of Massachusetts and the excess taxes to put on the carrier? Well, you're not hiring a driver, you're hiring an independent contractor. So I'd have to look at that. I'd have to see what their laws are, an independent contractor. And what you might want to do is get a corporation out of Delaware or somewhere, or Nevada, and then we're hiring a company out of Nevada, not out of Massachusetts. So I'd have to read their law on that to see exactly what it says. But that's the way around it. because we're hiring the company. We're not hiring the contractor, the driver. So if you had XYZ trucking company in Massachusetts, change the XYZ trucking company out of, let's say, Nevada or Delaware, then we're hiring that company out of that state, not Massachusetts, even though you live there. Because you're driving for your own company. Does that make sense, Steve?
Yeah.
Kind of like the California people, right? Go get a corporation out of some other state, even though they still live there. Their company's out of a different state.
Well, hey Jeff, I'm gonna get off here. I gotta accomplish a few things. Thanks
Yeah, I
for
gotta
having
go
me.
too. I gotta go too, man. I got fields to mow. You know, I gotta take my tractor in. The air conditioner broke, so I gotta take my tractor in, put that up on the trailer, chain her down, drive it to the dealer because it's warranted, and see if they can fix the air conditioner, because you don't want to be out there doing 70 or 80 acres with no air conditioning. I mean, yeah, you could take the doors off, open up the windows, that type of thing. But with all the dust and everything, it's nice to have a sealed cab and not have to worry about that. So I'm going to check the AC, see if it's working. It's kind of off and on. So if it does work, I'm going to go out, do some farming. If it isn't working, then I'll probably take all the attachments off it and load it up on the flatbed and take it to the dealer and see if I can get it back in a day or two. So that way I can do the work next week. But we'll see y'all later. Thanks for watching, and see ya.